Hi there, I'm the Mythkeeper. Welcome back to my channel, the best place on the internet for Pathfinder lore and history. If you like this kind of content, be sure to like and subscribe. And if there's anything you'd like to know about in particular, let me know in the comments below as I read all of the comments. Well, everybody, believe it or not, over the last 3 years that I've been doing this, I have managed to cover, as of this video, every single region in the Inner Sea region in a region deep dive. This is my very last one. It is the Five Kings Mountains, and it's a doozy. It's a 2-hour video. I think the runtime might be the second largest I've ever done after the Shackles. There's so much content, rich content about the Dwarves. The other really interesting thing that happened is over the course, obviously I produce and create these videos a little bit before they actually air on the channel, and the primary source originally for this material was the Highhelm supplement. But in the middle of the writing process, it just so happened that this gorgeous hardcover book, this Shining Kingdoms book came out, which provides some additional detail around the Five Kings Mountains, and also, as with everything in Pathfinder, regional history is updated based on the latest events. So when Highhelm was out, the sort of most important political thing that was happening at the time was the construction of the Torag's shield project, a kind of defensive structure that went around Highhelm. And the problems at the time of the publication of that book were that it was running over budget, behind schedule. The Dwarves were having various economic problems as a result. But as of the publication of this book, it just so happens the Torag's shield project is complete. And in fact, they have leftover material from the Torag's shield project, which they've used to construct dwarven mechs, which is kind of a cool thing. So as a result of this book coming out, I had to pivot. I'd written and recorded a chunk of this, and then I rewrote and re-recorded bits and pieces just to bring the lore as up to date as I could. There might be some lingering snippets of lore that you'll catch in this video that I might not have completely edited out. Please let me know in the comments below if you find them. But in any case, this is a super rich, super fun video. What a great video to go out in terms of my Avistan and Garand region deep dives. I think this is a fun one. Enjoy.
A short history of the Dwarven people. Although Dwarven history went back millennia when they lived in the Darklands, modern recorded Dwarven history doesn't really begin until the Starstone fell and brought calamity to the world in -5293. The Dwarves took the shaking of the earth to be a message from their god Torag, that the first days of an ancient prophecy were upon them. It was time to begin the quest for the sky. Across the Inner Sea region, the Dwarves would emerge and form various distinct cultural groups across the land, as described in my Complete History of the Inner Sea video. But the greatest of the dwarf emergencies of all would occur in the land that would come to be called the Five Kings Mountains. The Dwarves breached the surface here 26 years after the Orcs had done, the Orcs having been pushed this way by the Dwarves' own Darklands war against them. On the surface, the Dwarves immediately helped rally the Khelids and waged a measured, strategic, and careful war against the Orcs, using the same methodical approach that had proved so effective at wiping them out of the Darklands. By -4890, the Dwarves and the Khelids had pushed the Orcs east of Druma, and it was the Dwarves that named this new polity, Druma, meaning the Silver Shore. And although it was a decisive victory against the Orcs, it was a bit of a hollow victory for the Khelid humans, who soon learned that the Dwarves had no intent to relinquish the land to them. Establishing their western battle lines along the curve of the Duskshroud Peninsula, the Dwarves built defensive fortresses at the port of Detmer and at the end of the Menador Mountains. The entire region was incorporated into a broader dwarf empire called Tar Targath, founded by King Targic Hilgardsson, first High King of the Dwarves. After the empire was founded on 4 different occasions since that initial date of occupation, the humans of the occupied territories tried to rebel against the Dwarves and claim their independence. The first Drumish rebellion occurred in -4866, the second and third occurred between -4500 and -1200, although few records survive from those conflicts, so the exact dates are unknown, and a fourth Drumish rebellion occurred in the year 113, when news of the thriving human empire of Taldor began to reach southern Druma. The fourth rebellion ended in failure, like the first 3 did, and Dwarven King Huragnar responded by demanding that the Drumish people be denied beards and beer, thereby prohibiting Drumish men from growing facial hair or consuming alcohol. However, these rebellions were taking their toll. Moreover, the empire itself was starting to fracture from inside. No king ever came close to being as popular as Targic, or indeed any of the early kings, and each of the great dwarf cities began to want the empire to see things their way. Eventually the power of Tar-Targath began to wane. And then finally, after being attacked by an overwhelming orc horde in 1551, the empire collapsed and eventually split into 5 dwarven kingdoms of Gardath, Sagarak, Dogath, Grakodan, and Tagaret, which thereafter fought one another in the devastating Five Kings War, which began in 1571. This also began the Five Kings period, which lasted from 1571 to 2492. In the middle of this conflict, dwarven interest in Druma finally ended after the Curse Accord was signed in 2332, which granted Druma full autonomy, and this accord was recognized by both the Dwarves and by the Empire of Taldor. The Curse Accord also ended the Five Kings Wars and brought about a peace among the Dwarves. The peace lasted only 160 years, before their ancient enemy, the Orcs, invaded the Dwarven kingdoms in 2492. One by one, the Five Kingdoms collapsed, and their great cities fell to their enemies. The only city to resist in this time was Highhelm. From 2492 to 3279, the Dwarven Wild Era transpired, in which Orcs controlled much of the Five Kings Mountains, with only Highhelm remaining to defend the Dwarven civilization in this area. In the late years of the Wild Era, in 3197, a charismatic dwarf lord named Cadon the Mighty arrived in the Five Kings Mountains, aiming to destroy the Orcs and end their 700-year occupation of the region. After 82 years of war, Cadon defeated the Orcs in 3279 at the Battle of Split Mist Pass and founded the Empire of Tar-Kaderm. The city of Jernishal was founded under the mountains in 3312 and became the preeminent city of the new empire, and later its capital. Jernishal's sister city of Razari Canton was founded on the surface in 3451 and became a vital trade center in the region. But then came the famous rending of Droskar's Crag in 3980. The rending is the common term used to describe the eruption of Droskar's Crag, which was a volcanic mountain, but presumed to be long dormant. This calamity utterly destroyed Jernishal and its sister city of Razari Canton, and forced many dwarves to flee their ancestral homeland. Despite this terrible setback, the empire of Tar-Kaderm endured for a while, lasting until the end of the Forge War in 4382. The last well-remembered king in this period was King Talric the Industrious, and it was his murder that triggered the Forge War, which lasted from 4369 to 4382. This culminated in the rise to power of a theocrat named Father Odric, who dedicated himself to the dwarf god Droskar, also known as the Dark Smith, and the patron deity of the Hringar. Odric's theocracy lasted for 80 years, ending in 4466, and although overthrown, that calamitous period did end any hope of unity across the Dwarven lands. The most recent event to affect the dwarves of the Five Kings Mountains was the death of Gorham, as described in my recent Complete History of the Inner Sea video. When Gorham died, his living armor shattered into countless fragments. While most were minuscule and lost in the cracks of the multiverse, larger pieces remained intact and fell onto various worlds as part of the phenomenon now known as the God's Reign. The God's Reign appears to have reinvigorated the dragon Daralathixil, the so-called Sixth King, who has been sighted several times surveying the surrounding lands. This, however, was not the only impact to the region. In addition to the reawakening of Daralathixil, while some of the smaller fragments of Gorham's armor came down on Galarian as a kind of rain composed of quintessence and other exotic materials, sometimes larger chunks of the armor came down as well, constructed of new, unknown, and powerful metals. Known collectively as war shards, these materials exhibit strange and shifting properties that are still not fully understood and have reacted differently based on the locations they landed in. One such war shard landed near the gates of Larad, triggering a response from the prime inevitable known as Otolmens. Otolmens is described in more detail in my Religion Guide to the Inevitables. Otolmens foresaw that the shard could give rise to a force capable of destabilizing reality itself, and it sought to erase Larad and all potentially contaminated life. The dwarven god Grundinar, one of Torag's sons, typically viewed as a dwarven god of friendship, refused to allow for such destruction and intervened to protect the city. A battle broke out between the god and the prime inevitable, right there on the material plane. The conflict, witnessed by the citizens of the city, ended in a blinding explosion, and when the dust cleared, Grundinar, Otolmens, and their mortal and immortal allies alike had vanished entirely. The dwarven pantheon is now down one god, and his clergy are reeling from the event, as followers of Gorham are as well, all over the Inner Sea. Meanwhile, the war shard itself that landed near Larad is now emptied of its mythic power, and it remains there, seemingly inert. Larad citizens have been left wondering whether the war shard is actually safe in their care. The Five Kings Mountains Gazetteer. The Carved Kings. In the wake of the Curse Accords, which ended centuries of dwarven infighting, the people of the Five Kings Mountains commemorated peace with colossal monuments carved into the faces of prominent peaks. These towering sculptures, each exceeding 150 feet in height, depict legendary dwarven rulers and stand as guardians over key mountain passes and settlements. King Harald of Sagarak surveys Lightning's Call, while King Kazmuk of Dogath watches over the Great Pass near Fort Dag. King Rolgrim of Gracodan overlooks the low pass near Rolgrim Dur, and King Madgrim IX of Gardath is etched into Mount Aragak near Kolvar. Lastly, the likeness of King Tagin, also known as Tagric I, looms from Mount Langley, guarding the King's Tower Pass near Tagaret. One persistent local legend claims that each carving hides a magical gem, each king's ancestral clan gem, and that these gems are capable of unleashing devastating force to repel invading armies. If that is true, there are no clearly documented accounts of this, though. Davarn. Situated in the southwestern reaches of the Five Kings Mountains, Davarn is a two-part town, with about 2,500 residents. Its surface district, mainly populated by humans, is centered on agriculture, while the dwarven majority underground region is more urban and industrial. The two halves of the town coexist harmoniously, and share governance through a 5-member council. Though Davarn's artisans and mines are productive, its true strength lies in its strategic location. Positioned in a vital trade route between Druma and Andoran, the town is a key hub for merchant caravans. Below-ground tunnels also link Davarn with the city of Tagaret, connecting it to the broader dwarven commercial network. Davarn was the location of the first edition standalone Pathfinder module Down the Blighted Path, and as such it is a fully mapped-out city and location. Some important locations in Davarn include the Bensick Estate, home of the influential Bensick family, and indeed Mayor Ranty Bensick remains the most influential figure in town. This estate features architecture reflective of old Droskarite designs dating back to the much-lamented Odric theocracy period. Choker's Run, a tough working-class neighborhood known for its gritty and smoky taverns. Locals call themselves runners and wear the name with pride. The Davarn Reservoir, a deep underground lake that provides water and houses the delicacy known as the Five Kings trout. This reservoir was central to the city's founding. The Davarn Town Hall, an old, often renovated civic building that has long symbolized the town's longevity and bureaucracy. Along with the mayor and councillors, influential figures like Guard Captain Erna Stoneheart work out of the building as well. The Davarn Waterworks, an engineering marvel maintaining water flow and sanitation that requires constant upkeep and is occasionally mired in local politics. The Five Kings Custom House, which manages trade levies for Davarn and nearby cities. It is efficient and complex and overseen by the incorruptible Novar Rinaldi. The Hall of Torag, a rebuilt underground temple of Torag that also hosts Erastil worship, led by the kind father Razik Kenton, who likes to promote both unity and tradition. The Calistrade Library, a temple and archive for the Calistocrats, followers of the prophecies of Calistrade, overseen by the oracle Mimon Taberwell, who works closely with their Drumish trade partners in the north. Kardak's Shaft, one of the city's main mines, now also producing concrete, jointly owned by 7 families and managed by a Calistocrat foreman. The Lucky Imp, Davarn's most popular inn and tavern, run by gnome matriarch Leni Marbaket, festive, well-located, and full of quirky family memorabilia. Redin's Mine and Iron Works, a rival to Kardak's Shaft, focusing on iron and quartz, known for its strong safety culture under the no-nonsense Yuga Red Rambus. Stinnison's Emporium, a quirky shop for potions, alchemical goods, and magical curiosities, run by the eccentric but beloved Luker Stinnison. The Stone of Elders, a round temple honoring the full dwarven pantheon. While all the gods here are equal in theory, Bolka and Guldinar get the most of the worship. And finally, the Tipsy Scales, a travel-oriented gambling hall run by Vampa Kardik, a savvy operator tied to local crime and smuggling networks. Droskar's Crag. Droskar's Crag dominates the Five Kings region, towering to a height of 28,822 feet. The volcano features 2 major peaks, the Hammer and the Anvil, with an active lava crater still visible within the Anvil. Snow caps crown the mountain, feeding 6 major glaciers. Meltwater from these glaciers form the Coldforge and Goldmelt rivers. These waterways were once crucial to trade during the height of Tar Kaderm. The mountain's most catastrophic eruption, known as the Rending, occurred in 3980. This devastating event obliterated the underground capital of Jernishal and caused the surface city of Razari Canton to collapse into molten fissures. The eruption and its resulting quakes caused destruction across the wider region, with flooding from melting snow reported even as far south as Almas and Andoran. The calamity shattered the Dwarven Empire of Tar-Kaderm, beginning a long era of cultural decline. Even today, the mountain is prone to belching smoke, ash, and occasional fire elementals, keeping nearby populations on constant alert. Before its catastrophic eruption in 3980, a clutch of 7 magma dragons layered deep beneath Droskar's crag. Only 2 dragons in the clutch survived the disaster, Moshabat and Veshumirix. Moshabat would later claim a ruined lair in the crag itself, where he slew his own brother Veshumirix in a territorial clash. A secondary eruption would open a passage between his lair and the ruined dwarven city of Jernishal, which Moshabat would plunder to expand his horde. Among his trophies is the legendary Axe of the Dwarvish Lords, taken after he ambushed and killed a survey party led by famed hero Bravator Broak. The dragon now shares his domain with several groups: Clan Zillerin, a Munsahir dwarf clan whose crafted works the dragon Moshabat trades with other Darklands denizens, the Flame Torrent Kobold tribe, and a cavern elf oracle named Zivia Zendirox, who as of 4713 was one of the few individuals rumored to know the Axe's true location. In addition to being the home of Moshabat, somewhere near the crag is also rumored to be the lair of the greatest dragon in all the Five Kings Mountains, sometimes called the Sixth King, the elusive ancient cinder dragon Daralathixil. Estimated to be over 2,000 years old, his fiery wrath has scarred Andoran, Isgur, and Druma, and after each attack he demands tribute in the form of gold and rare treasures. Locals appease him with royal titles such as King, Emperor, or God to avoid provoking his deadly fury. Though increasingly dormant over the centuries, Daralathixil's power remains undiminished. Most recently cited in 4724 following the recent God's Reign event, it is believed the mystic rainfall catalyzed his return. Reawakened and renewed, Daralathixil is rumored to have since rallied his draconic offspring and followers, reminding the nearby nations once again that he is one of the land's greatest regional threats. Droskar's Crucible. Perched on the southeastern slopes of Droskar's Crag, this grim, squat monastery was hewn from bleak grey stone, its form stark and undecorated. Built in the mid-45th century by followers of Droskar, the structure reflects the austere architectural style favoured during Odric's theocratic rule. Time has taken its toll, leaving the edifice mostly in ruins, now overrun with creeping fungi and invasive moulds. Yet, not all within its ancient halls lies dead and buried. New threats have arisen to claim the old ruins, and chief among them is the warg Greypelt and his goblin tribe. Greypelt is a fearsome predator and a cruel regional overlord. The King Tower Pass. This vital mountain pass winds between Droskar's Crag and Mount Gustus, marking the southern boundary of the Five Kings Mountains and bordering Andoran. Towering above the trail, a massive carved visage of King Tagan watches over travelers, a solemn guardian of the route. The pass is regularly patrolled by a unit of dwarves led by March Captain Jartan Clapstin, whose forces remain vigilant against both lost wanderers and the strange creatures that sometimes emerge from the Darkmoon Vale. Tagaret. This ancient city, with a population of almost 15,000 dwarves, dates back to the storied quest for the sky. It is named for the dwarf king Tagan, whose followers traced a path upwards through ancient lava tubes, eventually discovering a network of interconnected caverns here. These chambers became their base of operations as they pushed ever closer to the surface. When they finally broke through to open air, Tagan led the transformation of their humble camp into a fortified village, and from there into a bustling town and ultimately a city, its surface protected by sturdy stone walls and iron gates, while most of its dwarven residents made their homes in the carefully expanded and polished tunnels below. Today, Tagaret stands as a thriving stronghold at the terminus of the dwarven tunnelways that stretch beneath the Five Kings Mountains. Though excavation continues around the collapsed passages near Droskar's Crag, long damaged during the rending, Tagaret remains a vital hub. Its forges burn hot with the city's chief industry, iron mining and smelting. Renowned across Druma and Andoran, Tagaret iron is prized as the finest for hundreds of miles in any direction. While many of the richest veins were sealed off during the rending, its iron mines and foundries still fuel much of the Five Kings Mountains economy. King Gefbert Gondak remains cautious about re-excavating tunnels that reach towards Droskar's Crag. Instead, he advocates for refining current mining techniques and maximizing productivity from existing operations. Tagaret's forges run day and night, and the city's wealth flows from its anvils and smelters. Kaikar. With a population of just shy of 10,000 dwarves, Kaikar is the most populous city in the region without a seat on the Gathering Council. Nestled beneath Mount Gustus in the southeastern Five Kings range, Kaikar has long sought equal standing with cities like Tagaret and Rolgrim Dur. Recently, Lord Mayor Hanson Struckiron has aligned the city's economic muscle with King Borgrim of Highhelm, betting that the regional unification may bring greater balance and recognition to overlooked cities like his own. Rallgrim Dur, founded as a wartime outpost by King Cadon the Mighty during his campaign to expel Orcish forces in the 32nd century, Rallgrim Dur rose from the ruins of Gracchadan, a city sacked nearly 700 years prior. The outpost evolved into a formidable fortress and became a cornerstone of Cadon's kingdom. Today, most of its defenses lie beneath the surface, hidden in deep tunnels and strongholds, but its eastern edge is marked by a formidable gatehouse and a towering watchpost that overlooks the mountain passes leading from distant Highhelm. Dozens of vigilant dwarves guard the entrance, and many more are stationed out of sight. Inside the walls, Rallgrim Dur is orderly and disciplined. Its streets are clean and straight, laid out with methodical precision. Every district feels intentional, each structure built not only to serve its purpose, but to withstand siege. Nearly every building could double as defensive redoubt in times of crisis. Smithies specializing in armor and weapons line the avenues, combat academies and mercenary guilds are common, and soldiers run drills in open plazas. Yet despite its martial nature, Rallgrim Dur isn't grim. It carries a quiet confidence. Its people walk with the poise of those who have endured and overcome. Their strength lies not just in steel, but in community, purpose, and a deep-rooted internal resilience. Efficiency and pragmatism are core virtues, and most citizens are armed and ready at all times. Now home to just over 7,000 dwarves, Rallgrim Dur remains a bastion of martial excellence. Its training academies draw students from across the Five Kings Mountains, and even from neighboring Druma and Andoran, seeking instruction in tactics, weaponry, and military history. The city exports elite mercenary companies throughout the region and manufactures many of the region's siege engines. King Caldon the Stalwart is the High Lord of the city, with General Hela Saginsdottir being the High Commander of the city's military forces. General Hela's position is an elected rather than hereditary or named position, and she is very well liked across the city, a battle-hardened veteran with countless Darklands and surface campaigns under her belt. The city is naturally also the ancestral seat of power of Clan Gracchaddar, who maintain a large, well-fortified complex near the city center. While the complex interior is off-limits to outsiders, the surface levels of their holdings do allow visitors during daytime hours. Clan Gracchaddar has 4 clan leaders, Mordell, Quirid, Sigdris, and Uld Gracchaddar. There is also rumored to be a passage called the Corwell beneath Rallgrim Dur that connects the city to Felgun, the ancestral home of the dwarves deep in the Darklands. After the dwarves left Felgun, Fey and elemental creatures moved in, and they now preside over the ancient dwarven ruins in the Darklands below. Fort Dag. Located atop a lofty summit south of Tar Kazmuk, Fort Dag keeps watch over the Great Pass and much of the northwestern frontier. While underground-dwelling dwarves tend to view it as an uncomfortable posting, many of the mountain dwarves and humans stationed here find the expansive views invigorating. The outpost is commanded by First Captain Hannah Draston, one of the rare non-dwarven officers entrusted with significant command in the region's military. Tar Kazmuk. A haven of arcane scholarship, the city of Tar Kazmuk, with a population just shy of 4,000 dwarves, boasts the most extensive magical archives in the Five Kings Mountains. Dwarven wizards and planar researchers from across the Inner Sea make pilgrimages here to consult the libraries, which are overseen by the enigmatic Blue Warders, librarians adorned with runic tattoos who serve as both custodians and guides. While the archives are open to visitors, exploring them without a warder is unwise. Magic warps the layout, and some careless scholars have vanished into shifting corridors and forgotten chambers. The city is ruled by sibling monarchs Woltri and Hromkar Nalkavar, who share a seat on the Gathering Council. Tar Kazmuk is unique among the Five Kings settlements in that it remains entirely subterranean. Despite this, it has no access, sealed or otherwise, to the Darklands. Instead, it must be entered from the surface. The city was originally excavated during the construction of the Great Monument to King Kazmuk, one of the 5 kings who signed the Curse Accord. Over time, it was expanded by generations of wizards seeking seclusion for their studies. Much of the architecture here is shaped by arcane means, crafted with the aid of summoned earth elementals. As a result, the stonework defies traditional dwarven sensibilities. Its geometry is often strange, its layout bewildering even to those with a dwarf's innate sense of depth and direction. Whispers persist of lost libraries hidden in remote tunnels, jealously guarded by reclusive and possibly undead spellcasters. Some say these hermit scholars include dwarf liches who long ago sealed themselves away with their secrets. The Lightning Top. Perched on the Keonan border, this storm-shrouded peak is famed for two things: the monumental carving of King Harald gazing south over the Great Pass, and the perpetual thunderclouds that crown its summit. Despite years of study by Tar Kazmuk's wizards, the mysterious storm shows no signs of magical influence, yet remains stubbornly resistant to mundane explanation. Tathandir. Nestled closely to the elven border, Tathandir sits uncomfortably close to both the blighted Tanglebriar and the shattered, demon-haunted ruins of Shevaroth. The village's rustic homes and overgrown pathways give the impression of a secluded retreat, but beneath the quiet surface a tense spiritual war is being waged. The town draws mystics, wardens, and green-faith adherents from across the inner sea, who believe a long-buried artifact of nature's wrath lies hidden in the caverns beneath their feet. These druids and seers work tirelessly to shield the region from creeping demonic corruption, often engaging in dangerous rituals or disappearing into the forest in search of omens. Despite the threat on its doorstep, Tathandir remains a resilient if wary community, its people bound together by purpose and peril. The Shaping Bluffs. This striking 2-mile stretch of crimson cliffs lines the Sellen River, where it forms the border between the Five Kings Mountains and the ever-volatile nation of Galt. The cliff faces here appear to change shape unpredictably, defying erosion and natural wear. As the stone shifts, new caves frequently open at the waterline, creating ideal hideouts for smugglers and river pirates who use the unstable geography to stay ahead of pursuit. With few organized patrols on this stretch of the river, the elusive terrain has made law enforcement nearly impossible. Recently, a small group of dwarven stone shamans, led by geomancer Hromkul Stretruk, established a research camp on the bluffs. They've managed to magically stabilize a portion of the cliffside, but the source of the bluff's ever-changing contours remains a mystery. The House of Sky and Coralisian. These two locations lie within the borders of the Five Kings Mountains, but are technically elven-held locations, and are discussed in more detail in my Keonan region deep dive video. Elistia. Another elven holding in the mountains is the Fortress of Elistia, which I didn't cover in my Keonan video. Another southern-facing key military stronghold for Keonan, the Fortress of the Bluffs commands sweeping views of the Five Kings Mountains' northeastern expanse and borders with both Keonan and Galt. A disciplined force of about 500 elven soldiers, under the leadership of Lord Alavar, keeps constant vigil here. Though typically aloof towards outsiders, Elistia's garrison is known to aid stranded mountaineers that they might come across during their patrols. Bolgrad. Nestled in the northeastern expanse of the Five Kings Mountains, Bolgrad is famed for its thriving gem industry, mining, cutting, and polishing precious stones. The glittering veins of gemstone ore embedded in the cavern ceiling have earned it the moniker Star-Studded Bolgrad. Nearly all the city's 5,700 residents are tied in some way to the gemstone trade, and its jewelers are acclaimed throughout the inner sea. When the Gathering Council chose to gift a coronation necklace to Grand Princess Eutropia Stavian of Taldor, they commissioned it from Bolgrad's master artisans. While the majority of residents are dwarves, a significant elven minority resides in the city as well, many serving as clergy of Yul-Ral, the goddess of crystals and magic. A temple devoted to her under the guidance of High Priest Wenristan Ridistrial offers free lodging to artisans of all ancestries who visit to study or collaborate. Tal Mornat. Approximately 6 centuries ago, dwarves constructed the ossuary of Tal Mornat, especially for the servants of the Cathedral of Magrim in Larad, as well as other faithful servants of the dwarven god. The necropolis lies some 20 miles west of the city, in a hidden valley within the peaks of the Five Kings Mountains. Over time, due to the fame of many laid to rest here, the site is now a holy and cultural center for the dwarven community. Larad. The dwarven city of Larad rose around a cluster of ancient temple caverns, first carved by some of the earliest dwarves to reach the Five Kings Mountains. These sacred halls serve as places of worship, honoring the gods who had guided the dwarves through their quest for the sky, and as a necropolis where the honored dead could be laid to rest, and remembered long after their names faded from common memory. Over generations, modest shrines grew into grand temples, then soaring cathedrals, and eventually into sprawling religious complexes. Now serving as the spiritual heart of the region, Larad has a population of nearly 20,000, and the city thrives as a destination for pilgrims and priests alike. While shrines to many inner-sea deities dot the city, the core of worship centers on Torag and the dwarven pantheon. Towering cathedrals serve as seminaries for future clergy, and much of the local economy supports religious life. Along with the many temples dedicated to the traditional dwarven pantheon, there is another significant spiritual presence in the city. The Order of the Rivthun maintains the Court of 1000 in the northern city of Larad. According to the Way of the Rivthun, long ago, Before gods held sway over dwarven hearts, the dwarves placed their faith in the world itself, in the spirits that dwelled within stone, wind, flame, and water. They taught their children to listen to these spirits, to show reverence while keeping a healthy caution, and to let the unseen voices of the world guide their steps. The spirits led them to safety, to sustenance, and ever upward, as the stone itself urged them towards the sky. Then came Torag, and he declared that it was not the spirits, but his own divine voice that had called the dwarves to ascend. He claimed they were not born of the deep earth, but his forge and his will. In time, the dwarves accepted his word, and the old ways faded into silence. These teachings, as one can see, are antithetical to the more common dwarven belief that Torag was a father of the dwarves, and many practitioners of traditional dwarven religion view the Rivthun as, at best, a dangerous cult, and at worst, a heretical group no better than the worshippers of Droskar, undermining the traditional underpinnings of dwarven culture and heritage. Regardless, the Rivthun have a strong presence here in Larad, and the Court of 1000 serves as the official headquarters for the Rivthun across the Five Kings Mountains region. High Seeker Polbar Truai maintains strong communications between the headquarters and the shaman Ugur of the Smouldering Court, the Rivthun's high temple in Highhelm. Important locations in Larad include the necropolis. Larad's vast necropolis spans a cavern filled with millennia of monuments, where the dead may rise and the living tread carefully. Magrim's priests work with the Rivthun practitioners to keep the spirits at peace, though tensions grow as burial spaces have run out. Royal approval is now required for any new internments. The Temple of the Taskmaster. Magrim's shrine is solemn yet warm, offering guidance in life and honoring the dead. High Priestess and current King Besta Grimai leads with care, sponsoring artisan festivals and youth programs. But unbeknownst to her, a secret cult of Droskar has begun recruiting from within her clergy. The Court of 1000. The heart of the Rivthun tradition, this naturalistic space encourages study, worship, and personal discovery without rigid roles or structure. High Seeker Polbar Truai oversees flexible communal life here. The Rivthun practice of consulting with ancestors has been disrupted by the God's reign here, unfortunately, and now vengeful spirits threaten this harmonious sanctuary. The Temple of the Forge Fire. This roaring forge temple dedicated to Angrad serves both the devout and Larad's broader smithing community. High Forge Minder Casilda Ironweft oversees daily rituals and commissions, believing that for her and her constituents it is labor that is the truest form of worship. The Sacred Hearth. Folgrit's sprawling temple complex combines ancient tradition with ongoing care for Larad's vulnerable. Holy Mother Olaria Stronghammer presides over interconnected homes, schools, and devotional halls. Here, freely available morning cider and sweet rolls are beloved by locals and pilgrims alike. The High Temple of Torag. This grand temple honors Torag with both public worship and busy crafting spaces filled with tools and mini-forges. High Defender Gistak leads industrious priests who keep the temple active day and night. As the central figure in the Dwarven pantheon, the surrounding district to the High Temple of Torag is one of the larger ones, with many surrounding shops catering to tourists and crafters alike. Just beyond the gates here, Temple Row, a cluster of shrines to non-dwarven gods, including the likes of Desna, Shaylin, and others more familiar to surface folk, can be found occupying the central chamber of the vast cavern. Oathkeeper's Cathedral. This orderly cathedral to calls emphasizes contracts and laws, drawing those seeking business deals and mercenary work. Head Oathkeeper Kemsissa Trueword runs a tight ship here, its prime location between the market and the government houses, also making it a hub for civic life. The Golden Cathedral. Bolka's cathedral gleams with golden light and hosts the grandest weddings in Larad, besides its spectacular waterfall. High celebrant Thalissa Evensong joyfully unites couples in lavish ceremonies. The nearby district offers top-tier boutiques, banqueting halls, and luxurious inns. A prestigious strip near the Golden Cathedral called Jewelers' Row caters to Larad's most honest and skilled jewelers. Guild leader Astrid Brightmind enforces strict standards, particularly around magical pieces. The lofty reputation of Jewelers' Row draws buyers from across the region. The government houses. Near the Oathkeeper's Cathedral, these simple but important buildings host the city's council, record offices, and administrative staff. Council meetings take place in a traditional dwarven hall, while a distribution center known locally as the Bread handles fair distribution of food and stipends. Jarek's Abelpen and Eberset Helmsbringer ensure civic functions run smoothly here, if a little slowly. The Cathedral of Might. Dedicated to Trude the Mighty, this colourful cathedral is filled with the sounds of sparring, exercising, and tactical discussions, and it is led by High Priest Magnusson Strongarm. Magnusson Strongarm is an ambitious rival to Besta Grimeye, and he currently seeks to become the next king of Larad, though his constituents have begun to become concerned over the High Priest's growing vanity and self-righteousness. The area surrounding the cathedral is also famous for its rowdy taverns and excellent eateries, including the famous Savouries and Sundries Inn run by Quist Andalon, a former Pathfinder, with equal devotion to the gods of Calistria and Caden Kalian. Cathedral of Peace. This serene, glowing cathedral honors Grundinar and offers meditation chambers and dispute arbitration. High Priest Zindursel the Wise led a staff of compassionate counselors here, and they have continued to keep the affairs of the temple in order, despite Grundinar's recent disappearance, a fact which means all the clergy here have been denied their divine powers. The surrounding residential district around the cathedral famously features Larad's finest bakery, the Peaceful Bread. The sanitation works. Home to Larad's Grindlegrub pits, this facility composts waste and distributes nutritious grubs to the hungry. The recent battle for the Warshard outside Larad led to thousands of dead. Devoted manager Deskin Foeminder has refused to feed these corpses to her beloved creatures and blames Magram's priests for their neglect in handling the matter more expediently. The Larad Fungal Farms. This collective cultivates and harvests fungi from Larad's depths, offering food and medicine alike. Esmire's spirit speaker uses Rivthun teachings to heal foragers, who increasingly return injured by diseased creatures. Corruption in the fungal caverns, it seems, is growing harder to contain. Varrock's Deep. Nestled more than 17,000 feet below sea level, Varrock's Deep, with a population of almost 3,000 dwarves, is the lowest inhabited settlement in the Five Kings Mountains. Its deep location makes it a critical bastion against threats from the Darklands. The city's hardened population is steeped in military tradition, with General Flinda Strikespark commanding a formidable garrison here. Though rarely visited by surface folk, Varrock's Deep maintains regular contact with the lower realms. Caligny traders, Deep Gnome scouts, and even subterranean fae are occasional guests, though typically kept under close watch. The city considers its defenses as much a part of daily life as food and water, and its citizens are prepared for war at a moment's notice. Kar Azak. First-time visitors to Kar Azak are often startled by the deafening roar that fills the air, caused by a thunderous 200-foot waterfall called the Cascade that dominates the city center. The echoes that bounce through the cavern amplify the sound to a near-constant rumble. With a population of 3,200 dwarves, this subterranean city has adapted well. Residents commonly wear hearing protection in public and rely on sign language for communication. The Cascade powers dozens of mills via a network of water wheels, and Mayor Tandril Gripstone oversees fair access to this vital energy source for all the city's workshops. Caladels. Perched on the soggy southern banks of the Selin River, Caladels appears to be little more than a dreary fishing village, a half-forgotten knot of weather-beaten shacks, rickety piers, and smoke-belching fish smokers. Its inhabitants seem a harmless mix of old sailors, wanderers, and rural eccentrics. Beneath this dismal exterior, however, lies a hidden engine of criminal enterprise. Caladels is the secret headquarters of the Brazen Bravos, a ruthless ring of smugglers and traffickers who ply the riverways with illicit goods, rare poisons, and stolen relics. The village's drabness is therefore a carefully cultivated exterior designed to repel curiosity. Outsiders who ask too many questions tend to disappear into the marsh, or are put on boats that never return. Highhelm. In addition to dwarves, some of this region is home to other humanoids with a connection to the deep earth, including Oreads and the Covintus. Covintus are reclusive humanoids with an inborn talent for geomancy. Not only can they call upon the magic of the earth around them, but the magic also calls to them in return, turning them into an element of the surrounding terrain when they die. So one of the strongest traditions in Covintus culture is to make maps that chronicle the places their loved ones became one with the landscape. Highhelm is a hidden Covintus settlement, located beneath the northeastern foothills of the Five Kings Mountains, near the Verduran Forest. Highhelm's entrance lies within a circle of standing stones, often veiled in fog. A ritual opens the way to shallow but strong geomantically carved tunnels beneath the hills and forest. Many surrounding hills double as rooftops, their subtle windows glowing like will-o-wisps at night. Though reclusive, Highhelm maintains warm trade relations with nearby Dwarven and Andorran villages to whom they export highly detailed crafts made with geomantic magic, including miniatures, dice, game pieces, and sculptures fashioned from stone, dirt, leaves, or fur encased in quartz. Kevlar, one of the smaller cities nestled within the Five Kings Mountains, established in the shadows of the fallen dwarven metropolis of Sagarak and built over the ruins of one of its southern districts, Kevlar is now an independent dwarven settlement of around 4,500 residents. After the last defenders of Sagarak perished from starvation in 2519, the legendary Cadon the Mighty led a campaign to reclaim the city, only to discover it was infested with the restless undead. Confronted with an unending horde of zombies, wights, and ghosts, Cadon chose containment over conquest. He sealed the heart of Sagarak behind stone and steel and carved out a new settlement in the southern fringes of the ruined city. This district became Kevlar, with its fortifications reforged to defend against incursions from the haunted northern ruins. In the power vacuum left by Sagarak's fall, Kevlar's dwarves formed a network of guilds to govern their fledgling society. These guilds assumed the responsibilities once held by kings, managing everything from infrastructure to trade, and wielding authority rivaling that of any noble house. Presiding over them is the Court of Regents, an appointed body that mediates disputes, delivers judgments, and hears grievances when guild intervention fails or falters. The most notable among these guilds is the Anvilers Guild, a powerful consortium uniting several trade guilds dedicated to smithcraft of varying kinds, from weapons and armor to intricate astrolabes and masterfully worked jewelry. The Anvilers are led by Guild Mistress Kelda Halrig, who chairs the Court of Regents. Kevlar features prominently in the Age of Ashes adventure path, particularly in Chapter 4, Fires of the Haunted City. As such, it is fully mapped out and detailed in the source material. The major districts of Kevlar and their key points of interest are as follows. The Barricade. Kevlar's northernmost district, the Barricade serves as the city's first line of defense against threats from the haunted ruins of Sagarak. This district blends martial discipline, reverence for the dead, and architectural grandeur, forming the city's steely edge, both literally and spiritually. The Garrison. Originally constructed as a military barracks, the garrison's stout stone buildings now serve a dual purpose, housing members of the Guild of Arms and providing training grounds for Kevlar's defenders. The district's rarely used jailhouse lies here as well, and its distinct quiet is a testament to the city's orderliness. Magram's Watch. This sprawling necropolis serves both as a resting place and spiritual safeguard. At its heart stands the solemn temple of Magrim, god of death and the afterlife, led by the vigilant Requiate Ladarza the Steadfast. Kevlar offers free burial in this sanctified ground to combat the rising of the dead, an all too common occurrence due to the corrupting influence of nearby Sagarak. Alternatively, for a fee, the deceased may be petrified and preserved in stone, a unique tradition that also extends to monsters and criminals whose shattered forms are repurposed as construction material known as gravestone. Though rumors have swirled of hauntings in such structures, the clergy have dismissed them as groundless. The Wall of the Ancients. This monumental barricade spans thousands of feet and forms both a physical and magical defense around Kevlar. Reinforced with a self-repairing wall of force, it is a triumph of dwarven engineering and arcane collaboration. Its interface bears vast genealogical charts tracing Kevlarite bloodlines, some extending back to the days of old Sagarak. A site of both protection and heritage, the Wall of the Ancients stands as an enduring testament to dwarven resilience and memory. Lakeside. Tucked into the cool stone near the southern bend of the city, Lakeside is a district shaped by water in a realm of fire and stone. Built along a dammed tributary that once flowed from Blue Crab Lake, this district offers a striking contrast to Kevlar's molten heart. The air is misty and damp, the stone walls slick with condensation, and bioluminescent creatures flicker beneath the lake's dark surface. Popular with artisans, healers, and those seeking rest, Lakeside is a place where dwarves go to clean off the soot of the forge and breathe easy. Blue Crab Lake. Fed by an underground waterfall and sustained by ancient aqueducts, this deep reservoir teems with strange life. Its namesake blue crabs, glowing, nimble crustaceans, are both a local delicacy and a symbol of the district. Kevlar's strict environmental controls keep the lake remarkably clean, but despite these efforts, fish populations have begun to decline. Fisherfolk whisper about a low, droning sound that rises from the depths on still nights, but investigations by the Guild of Occult Arts have turned up nothing, for now. The Lakeside Bathhouse. A beloved institution, the Lakeside Bathhouse is where Kevlarites go to shed their grime and weariness. Built atop natural magma-heated vents, it features hot springs, cold pools, and communal baths. Quiet conversation and personal space are respected here, enforced more by social taboo than law. Though open to all, the bathhouse also offers secluded alcoves for those who crave solitude or secrecy. Nadrim's Barber Shop. The clink of scissors and the scent of oils mark Nadrim's barber shop, where grooming is elevated to high art. Dwarves take immense pride in their beards and braids, and Nadrim's caters to all, from the traditionally styled to the boldly avant-garde. The owner, Nadrim herself, is a flamboyant stylist known for encouraging risk and rewarding bravery in fashion with steep discounts. Unlike some other shops in Kevlar, Nadrim also employs a staff from a wide range of ancestries, and prides itself on cutting hair for all heads and faces, no matter how many horns or tendrils they bear. The Earthfire. The rhythmic thunder of hammers never ceases in Earthfire, Kevlar's legendary forge district and the molten heart of the city's industry. Here, magma flows beneath the streets, drawn to the surface through ancient dwarven engineering to feed forges of unparalleled precision. Additionally, nearly all of Kevlar's citizens call Earthfire home, some for the prestige of its ancient architecture, but most simply because there are no other designated residential zones. The Anviler's Forge. The operational core of the influential Anvilers Guild, this vast forge complex dominates Earthfire Avenue. Built atop twin magma taps, it powers dozens of smithies, refining halls, and toolmakers' workshops. The building also houses administrative offices and living quarters for the Guild's senior artisans, including Forgemaster Kelda Harrig herself. Access to its best facilities is strictly regulated by the Guild, whose standards are as high as their tempers are short. The Temple of Torag. Shaped like a massive warhammer and glowing with holy fire, the Temple of Torag stands as a spiritual counterbalance to the Anviler's monopoly. Within its central forge, all are welcome to work the anvil, regardless of guild membership or social standing. This open access has led to frequent friction between the temple clergy and the guild, whose members see Torag's generosity as undermining their economic control. Yet for many dwarves, this sacred forge is where craft becomes worship. Earthfire Avenue. A street forged in flame, Earthfire Avenue curves and twists with the ancient magma channel buried beneath it. The road is lined with workshops, homes, and shops constructed from stone salvaged from old Sagarak itself, their thick walls scorched and fire-hardened. Property here is the most coveted in Kevlar, both for its prestige and its literal proximity to the forge fires. A sophisticated network of insulated pipes and valves allows master smiths to harness the lava directly, crafting masterpieces in metal that rival anything made on the surface. The Commerce District. Bustling with trade and thick with the clang of coin and contract, Kevlar's Commerce District forms the city's economic heart. In a time when war and calamity have made fine arms and armor more valuable than ever, Kevlar thrives, and nowhere is that prosperity more evident than in this vibrant district of guild halls, markets, and legal offices. The Archive. More than a library, the Archive serves as a sprawling memorial to dwarven heritage. It houses one of the most complete collections of genealogical records in Galarian, cross-referencing the engraved histories on the Wall of the Ancients with oral traditions passed down through generations. The stories preserved here, equal parts fact and fanciful embellishment, are valued as cultural treasures. Keen-eyed scholars sometimes discover fragments pointing to lost settlements, hidden caches, or unclaimed legacies buried in the exaggerated tales of old. The House of Oaths. Both courthouse and temple, this solemn hall is where Kevlar's legal disputes are resolved, and oaths are sanctified before Kols, god of duty and honor. Overseen by High Priest and Chief Arbiter Duverit, the House of Oaths is a place of rigorous deliberation and incorruptible law. In cases involving major guilds or sensitive political matters, impartial visiting merchants are sometimes asked to serve as adjudicators, preserving fairness in the face of local alliances. Regents Hall. The administrative nerve center of Kevlar, Regents Hall hosts offices for every recognized guild and maintains exhaustive records on civic governance. Beneath its polished stone floors lies a heavily guarded vault, the contents of which are closely kept secret even among Kevlar's elite. This vault is secured by agents from Axis, extraplanar creatures of law and order, whose presence is a costly but powerful deterrent against both theft and corruption. The Traveler's Quarter. Set at Kevlar's southernmost edge, the Traveler's Quarter serves as the city's threshold to the wider world. Designed with visitors, merchants, and wanderers in mind, this district exudes hospitality, spectacle, and a hint of opportunism. It's where foreign customs blend with dwarven traditions, deals are struck over strong drink, and tales are traded late into the night. From refined luxury to humble respite, the Traveler's Quarter caters to all who walk through Kevlar's gates. The Gold Sky Inn. This opulent inn takes its name from the gilded ceiling that reflects the torchlight like a warm sun. It offers lavish rooms, a refined dining hall, rotating exhibitions of dwarven art, and a small but prestigious theatre. The inn's enigmatic owner Stina accepts not just coin but art, music, or performance in exchange for lodging, making it a haven for creatives and eccentrics. Its most popular recurring act is the ever-changing mystery troupe, who draw crowds with improvised comedies spun from audience suggestions, their identities always cloaked in playful secrecy. Grandmother's Alehouse. A noisy, well-loved fixture of the district, Grandmother's Alehouse serves brews said to predate the surface world. Whether or not their 100 Grandmother's Ale truly hails from the days before the quest for the sky, it certainly drinks like ancient fire. Run by Margit and Valak Fearhoft, the alehouse is a haven for experimentation, where drinks with names like Inferno's Revenge or the Beard Burner tempt patrons and taunt braggarts. Members of the Gamblers' Guild frequent the place, wagering on who can stomach which brew without flinching. The Memorial of Kings. This solemn museum honors the rulers of Sagarak, Kovlar's predecessor, and the fallen ancestral city. Among its most prized relics are the crown of Sagorn the Holy and a rare copy of the Curse Accords, though not every artifact in the collection is as authentic as claimed. Curator Jostar, ever eager to expand the museum's draw, purchases recovered items from the ruins of Sagarak and often hires dubious restorers to improve them. Though controversy dogs the memorial's reputation, it remains a popular destination for the historically curious and romantically inclined. The Whims of Fortune. Kovlar's premier casino, Whims of Fortune, is operated by the Gamblers' Guild and run by fortunate Algera Cord. It is known for its fairness and flair. The central hall hosts classic dwarven games of chance, where guild-backed payouts ensure trust in every wager. In the surrounding wings, visitors can run their own games under the guild's watchful eye. Brawlers pay fines, cheaters are banned for life, and luck, whether kind or cruel, is the final judge. Farnborough. Beneath the clangor of forges in the marble halls of governance lies Farnborough, the newest and poorest district of Kovlar. Carved from long-abandoned mining tunnels, this subterranean sprawl houses the city's labourers and growers, far from the bustle of more prestigious quarters. Though often dismissed by wealthier citizens, Farnborough is vital to Kovlar's survival, providing both food and a living memory of the city's resourceful roots. The Fungus Farms. In these dark, humid chambers, farmers cultivate nutrient-rich fungi in beds of compost spread over stone. The most common crop is the iron bloom mushroom, a meaty and resilient staple of Kovlar's cuisine with a metallic tang and an earthy finish. Once riddled with ore veins, these tunnels have long since been depleted, but in their place, life thrives underground once more. Though the work is grueling and the pay meager, the farmers are proud of their essential role in feeding the city. The tree houses. A misnomer born of sarcasm, the tree houses are ramshackle tenements constructed from wood, an uncommon and disrespected material in a city of stone. These crowded structures line the edges of the Fungus Farms and house most of Farnborough's residents. Though their appearance may draw scorn from wealthier dwarves, within the tree houses a strong sense of community and mutual support thrives, bound by shared hardship and resilience. The Buried Path. Less a landmark and more a lifeline, this half-collapsed series of tunnels connects Farnborough with the rest of the city. Originally excavated to chase mineral seams, the passages were reopened to provide access for food deliveries and travel. Dimly lit and prone to rock falls, the Buried Path is avoided by most Kovlarites, but it remains a vital artery for Farnborough's residents. Some whisper that smugglers and outcasts also make use of its lesser-known offshoots. Beyond the city, aside from a few surface-accessible mines, the expanse between Mount Aragak and Mount Mist remains a cursed tomb. Few dare to enter its depths, save for the desperate or the foolhardy. Yet Kovlar endures as hundreds of dwarven artisans labour under the banners of Kovlar's guildmasters, producing goods renowned throughout the region. These finely crafted wares are regularly shipped to Highhelm, escorted by seasoned Rollgrimdur mercenaries, where they command premium prices and circulate across Galarian's markets. Bowtown. Tucked into a high, windswept valley beneath the looming silhouette of Mount Mist, the fifth tallest peak in the Five Kings range at over 16,000 feet, this small settlement serves as the last bastion of civilization before the mountain's treacherous ascent. More outpost than village, the community survives by catering to the needs of mountaineers, alpinists, and researchers drawn to the stark beauty and deadly challenge of the peak. Its population includes hardened guides, seasoned herbalists familiar with high-altitude flora, and a handful of innkeepers who maintain warm hearths and well-stocked stores. Fierce storms, rock slides, and sudden whiteouts are common at this altitude, and those who linger too long without preparation often become cautionary tales whispered around campfires. Despite the risks, the draw of Mount Mist's unforgiving slopes continue to attract adventurers seeking glory, or answers to the strange lights sometimes seen dancing at its summit. The Vale of Shadows. One of the location of Pathfinder Tales novel Plague of Shadows. The Vale of Shadows is the location of one of Zon-Kuthon's star towers, a dangerous valley located deep in the Five Kings Mountains. Here, the planar fabric between the Netherworld and Golarion is weak, and the Vale itself appears to be all but in the Netherworld itself, and creatures and monsters from that plane dwell within. The elves of nearby Elistia forbid entrance to the Vale of Shadows, believing nothing good can come from it, and knowing those who venture inside rarely return alive. Ringsmith Ranch. Located just east of Highhelm near the Andorran border, Ringsmith Ranch began as a hardy mule breeding station, famed for producing the strongest and most reliable pack animals in the Five Kings. Over time, it has grown into a bustling way station for long-distance traders and caravan companies navigating this rugged borderlands. Its corrals, forges, and stables form the spine of the settlement, while its few inns and supply shops remain open year-round to accommodate weary travelers. Despite its vital role in overland trade, Ringsmith Ranch is lightly defended. Bands of brigands and opportunistic raiders have begun striking with greater frequency, and the residents, many of whom still think of themselves as ranchers and not warriors, are increasingly desperate for aid or arms. Forge 1 and Project Gormuz. Tucked away in a remote mountain redoubt, several days' arduous trek from Highhelm lies Forge 1, the clandestine core of the Ash cult. Its first safeguard is its isolation, hidden far from any major road or traveled path. Its second is deception. On the surface, Forge 1 poses as a secluded temple of Torag, with its inhabitants cloaked in austere religious garb meant to discourage nosy travelers or would-be pilgrims. The third line of defense is far less subtle, a formidable force of clockwork sentinels and lethal traps, all devised by the warped ingenuity of the cult's leader, Ornmar Ringerike, now a dwarven mechanical lich, known more commonly as the Ash Engineer. At the center of this hidden stronghold is Project Gormuz, a towering adamantine furnace layered like the petals of a deadly mechanical flower. Within it, the Ash Engineer toils to unlock the elemental force of primordial flame, what he calls the ash and fire at the heart of all things. His ultimate goal? To harness this destructive power and offer it freely to the rulers of the world, knowing full well they'll use it to ignite the chaos and ruin he envisions. Before that, though, he plans a grand demonstration, perhaps the immolation of Highhelm itself. The Ash Engineer was not always a figure of myth and menace. Once, long ago, he was simply Ornmar Ringerike, a simple miner and survivor of the Rending. After the eruption, in the rubble, Ornmar found a strange object, a multifaceted crystal of silvery metal, inscribed with alien script so fine it seemed etched by starlight. The crystal filled his mind with visions, not of death and sorrow, but of art, of weapons that sang, tools that broke worlds, and a fire so pure it could erase mountains and boil seas. He hid the crystal, and began a long, obsessive pursuit to recreate what he had seen. Over the centuries, his apprentices became disciples, and his disciples became zealots. Without fully realizing it, he became the center of a cult. When age began to claim him, he replaced his body piece by piece, and felt no loss when his heart stopped beating. The silver crystal never spoke to him again, but Ornmar, now more machine than dwarf, still chases the echo of that vision. Forge 1 burns ever brighter, and the Ash Engineer will not stop until the world itself catches fire. The Sky Citadel of Highhelm. The immense sky citadel of Highhelm, carved into the mountain named Emperor's Peak, is the heart of Dwarvendom and Golarion. Like many of the great dwarven cities of the mountains, Highhelm is a self-governed city-state, a monarchy in fact, with High King Borogrim the Hale issuing royal decrees and sitting atop a grand throne in Emperor's Peak. Of course, monarchy makes it sound like the rule of Highhelm is simpler than it is, and the dwarven capital operates under a deeply layered and ancient political system, shaped by centuries of tradition, negotiation, and hard-won compromise. Much of this complexity stems from the days of the quest for the sky, when dwarven clans and guilds unified under the legendary Targic. To maintain this unity, the first High Kings granted various clans and guilds enduring crown ranks, titles of nobility that conferred special privileges codified under law. These privileges included representation on the Crown Council, the ability to veto royal acts, usually through a 3/4 majority, and in rare cases, the right to call for a king's removal. This Crown Council is therefore a powerful advisory body made up of 26 members, half appointed by tradition-bound aristocratic lines and half chosen by the king. This council includes key figures like the senior priest of Torag, the representative of the Order of the Mantle, the Grand General of Highhelm's military, provosts from each of the city's major neighborhoods, the king's bodyguards, currently known as the Hail Circle, and many other individuals. Two of the most politically powerful such individuals currently in the Crown Council are Grand Matron Dagalith the Stern of the Tolor clan, who is a staunch traditionalist, and Master Founder Orgrot Cinderskin of the Founders Guild, who has proved to be long-lived and has held his seat for many generations. In addition to the Crown Council, the king appoints warders, trusted agents who manage state functions like trade, the treasury, heraldry, and refuse management. These roles are not just bureaucratic. Holding a crown ward is a mark of prestige, and many of the major clans ensure their members are given such posts to maintain influence at court. Law enforcement in Highhelm is managed by the Emperor's Watch, the city's official guard force. Their jurisdiction covers the entire city, and the surrounding area of Emperor's Peak out to about a half a mile. The Watch is divided into 5 specialized branches. The King's Watch, which oversees the King's Crown, and is trained in diplomacy and de-escalation, and is generally used for handling nobles and aristocrats. The Heart Guard, which patrols the level of King's Heart, and is trained to identify and manage magical threats. The Stone Officers, which primarily operate in Stone Breach, skilled in espionage and undercover work. The Deep Sentinels, which guard the depths, experts in survival and combat in narrow subterranean spaces, and the Lookouts, which protect the outer environs and are trained in tracking and outdoor combat. While each branch focuses on its own area, cross-deployment is common. For example, Deep Sentinels might assist with a tunnel collapse elsewhere in the city. All members receive the same foundational training before they specialize. Meanwhile, Highhelm's military, particularly the Highhelm First Army, is known for its elite standards. All soldiers complete 2 years of rigorous basic training covering combat, survival, and tactics in various environments. Most are trained as stalwart defenders, excelling in defensive fighting styles. Even in peacetime, the army stays active, with missions such as clearing monsters from mountain tunnels or assisting allies like the Knights of Lastwall. The army is led by General Colton the Pike, a disciplined strategist who selects only missions that test his troops' skills, but is also always wary of not overextending their strength. As with the other major dwarven cities, Highhelm's trade and industry are its lifeblood, and guilds and unions are central to mercantile activity in the city. While outsiders can enjoy special relationship status or partial membership to the Highhelm guilds, full membership is typically reserved for experienced and exceptionally skilled dwarven artisans. Apprentices, journeymen, and foreigners can often hold provisional membership. Each guild hall contains public archives and galleries on the lower levels, and private areas for members as well, such as libraries, workshops, and lodgings, typically held on upper floors. These guilds are in turn grouped into unions, each around related trades. Some of the major unions include the Metal Makers Union, which includes miners, smelters, and smiths, as well as engineers and alchemists. It often works with the military on fortifications and demolitions. The Provisioners Union, which covers food and drink trades like brewers, chefs, fishers, and waste processing grindle grubbers. The Road Wardens Union, which supports travel and transport throughout the region, combining map makers, guides, and haulers. And the Union of Axe and Coin, which is a union for mercenaries and sellswords, and they often partner with the Road Wardens for the protection of high-risk cargo. Beyond the city, Highhelm does function as the political heart of the Five Kings Mountains region, and is often seen as the region's de facto capital as well. However, it is not officially recognized as such, especially by citizens of the other dwarven city-states who recognize no single dwarven king as having high authority. Formal leadership over the whole Five Kings Mountains region therefore comes from the Gathering Council, which includes representatives from Highhelm, Larad, Kolvar, Tagaret, Rolgrim-Dur, and Tar-Kazmuk. The High King convenes this council every 20 years or so to discuss matters like trade, resource distribution, tunnel taxes, military deployments, and regional boundaries. These sessions can last for months and typically end with a region-wide festival meant to reinforce unity and celebrate the new agreements. The most recent festival in 4720 was especially grand, as it coincided with the public unveiling of the Torag's Shield project, a project to mine a significant mithril vein discovered after a significant local quake. This enormous mining project is a significant recent public works, and it helped cement the last gathering as one of the most memorable in centuries. The work itself lasted for 5 years, from 4720 to just this year, 4725. Now unveiled, Highhelm has become even more defensible, unbreachable even by powers like the dread dragon Daralathixil, and the city has turned its attention to foreign diplomacy. The Highhelm mindset is shaped by centuries of resilience. Despite wars, political turmoil, natural upheavals, the city has endured, fostering a culture rooted in patience, cooperation, and hard work. Modern Highhelm is a thriving multicultural city that values both community and individuality, tradition and progress. Dwarves see it as the pinnacle of their culture, boasting unique features like the elementally powered forges of King's Heart and the deep historical roots of their traditions that predate even the quest for the sky. Life in Highhelm typically moves at a slow, thoughtful pace. The pace of a beard's growth, it is often said. Projects are meticulously planned, and dwarves live longer than humans, so their projects feel like they move at a snail's pace. However, when needed, Highhelm citizens can work with surprising speed, earning them the nickname the Quick Dwarves, among other cities in the region. Because the entire city is built inside Emperor's Peak, keeping time can be challenging due to the lack of natural light, as well as echoing acoustics, which makes bells ineffective. Instead, public water clocks on raised platforms are used throughout, and they track a standard 24-hour schedule. These clocks are often dyed in bright colors for festivals, or to show support for local teams or leaders. Clock minders ensure the city stays synchronized. Indoors, residents use personal water clocks, and places like bakeries and workshops use ember stones, metal lumps that glow for about an hour when heated, to measure shorter durations. However, not all of Highhelm follows the same clock. Some deep-dwelling dwarves, the Grondaxan, still use the Forge Day, a traditional 32-hour cycle with 12 hours of rest and 20 for work and leisure. These forge keepers mark time with keeper robes, colored knotted cords outside their homes, indicating their current activity. Though less common, forge keepers are integrated enough into society that others are familiar with their unique schedule, which will periodically overlap them with the standard day. The Highhelm Gazetteer. The King's Crown. King's Crown stands as the highest tier of Highhelm, both literally and figuratively. It's the most populous layer and serves as the heart of dwarven high society. At the summit reside the High King, the Gold-Hilt clans, and the most affluent merchants. The district gradually descends through the social hierarchy, encompassing traders, artisans, the Silver-Hilt clans, and other skilled professionals. Power and wealth walk hand in hand here, drawing the ambitious, the cunning, and even the unscrupulous. While petty crime is rare, there's little in the way of pickpocketing, drunken brawls, or break-ins. The shadows of King's Crown do conceal more unusual transgressions, conspiracies, cults, clandestine dealings, and secrets buried deep. Much of Highhelm's governance is centered here, particularly in the Helm's Keep neighborhood of the inner city, tucked inside the mountain, as opposed to the outer city, which spills along the slopes. The ancient stone hall, the ancestral seat of Highhelm's kings, houses most of the bureaucracy, though government offices sprawl across adjoining structures. A legion of clerks and administrators keep the wheels of state turning, managing taxes, licenses, courts, and civic affairs. Around them clusters a quieter network of spies, envoys, and opportunists, drawn to the pulse of authority like barnacles to the hull of a ship. Yet for all its intrigue, life in King's Crown is comfortable. Most residents are healthy and well off. Gripes about status or workload lack the bitterness found in more desperate places. For now, King's Crown hums along, its polished facade hiding secrets, but providing a steady rhythm of order, beauty, and relative peace. King's Crown is currently home to just over 3/8 of Highhelm's population, with 15,652 registered residents on the city's official census rolls. The vast majority, around 14,000, are Holtaxan, or mountain dwarves, forming the district's cultural and demographic backbone. An additional 1,000 residents hail from other dwarven backgrounds, primarily the Grondaxan, the deep-dwelling dwarves, and the Ergaxan, the surface-dwelling dwarves. These individuals are split fairly evenly between naturalized immigrants and long-term envoys representing outside trade guilds or diplomatic interests. The rest of the population consists of non-dwarves. About 2/3 of these are humans, while the remainder includes a mix of elves, gnomes, halflings, kobolds, strix, and other ancestries. Each community is small but distinct. In addition to the permanent population, King's Crown also sees a regular flow of transient visitors, primarily merchants and traders from neighboring cities and strongholds. These travelers tend to be dwarves as well, though with more variety in heritage and background than the locals. Their numbers shift with trade cycles and festival seasons, but generally average around 500 at any given time. Important locations include The Brock. Once a crumbling watchtower from the Droskerite era, the Brock is now a run-down private prison run by the corrupt Baalim of the Black. It holds petty criminals and suspicious visitors until they can post bail. Lately, a prisoner vanished mysteriously and his family have been asking questions. Furthermore, strange whispers now haunt the prison at night, and it has Baalim worried about a possible supernatural cause to the disappearance. Baalim is also rumored to have deep connections with Geira Hollowbone, Highhelm's worst-kept secret, a calm, courteous, but somehow untouchable crime boss, and the official overseer of The Arrangement, the city's powerful organized crime network. Despite her polite demeanor and measured tone, she wields immense influence through her corruption, intimidation, and her network of dangerous enforcers like Hrut Toothpuller and Corrie the Butcher. Her people, when caught, never spend very long in the Brock prison. Fire Cask Hall. Part pub, part industrial brewery, Clan Fire Cask's Hall serves up traditional and experimental drinks in the front while crafting spirits at scale in the back. Overseen by clan leader and master distiller Pairhill Fire Cask, the hall is a beloved local spot. With a broad smile and a penchant for offering visitors complimentary drinks, Pairhill is known not only as a great brewer, but a great host. Though people don't usually think of it that way, brewing on the scale that Clan Firecast engages in is an industrial operation in its own right, and the back of the hall is a maze of giant vats, powerful furnaces, and pressurized pipes. The Iron Archive. This heavily guarded archive houses priceless dwarven maps and land records, etched in gold-plated steel. Some date back to High King Targic. High Archivist Kagri Breakiron fiercely protects its contents, allowing access only under royal orders. This history of loyally protecting the archives goes back a long way. When the Droskerites took Highhelm, the ancient archive was hidden by its keepers, who refused to share it even under torment, and the High Archivist is determined to show no less devotion now. The Hollow Temple. A neutral temple for all faiths, the Hollow Temple hosts city-wide religious celebrations and rituals. Managed by Plavin Overhill, a halfling priest of Pharasma, it also offers shrines for various deities and serves as a communal place of worship while not in use for festivals. While the Forge of the Nine Kings in King's Heart serves as the center of faith in Highhelm, the Hollow Temple, with its grand hall, acts as its main place for religious celebration. Today, the Hollow Temple serves not only the Dwarven pantheon, but those of most any other faith within the city. Stone Hall. This is the traditional home of Highhelm's kings and the seat of its government. The massive, vaulted stone audience chamber is where High King Borogrim the Hale holds court with the city's important officials and clan leaders. The council chamber is another central political space, where heated debates and quiet negotiations shape the fate of the city. The royal treasury is another major feature. Highhelm's gold reserves are vast, protected by deadly traps and elite guards. Behind the public rooms lie a sprawling complex of archives, meeting rooms, and government offices that keep Highhelm's administration running. Stone Hall also includes the royal crypts, where past kings rest beneath their stone likenesses, guarded by magical constructs. The main political focus within Stone Hall right now is the Torag's Shield project. Many clan leaders, especially from Grimark, Mulgrade, and Vanderhall, have pledged their support for this public work. Royal Treasurer Herafk Arengeld, however, is worried about the alarming budget reports, warning of unsustainable costs. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Jarius Osterman, a human military attaché from Andoran, argues the funds would be better spent on soldiers rather than walls, so as to assure mutual defense in case of broader regional concerns. Rumors in Stone Hall have recently begun to spread that High King Borogrim the Hale is senile, greedy, or both, claims that have cast doubt on his ability to govern. These whispers appear to originate from within Stone Hall itself, though their exact source remains unknown. A careful investigation could uncover the truth. The rumors are being deliberately spread by Catiliar Sternsong, Borogrim's young cousin. However, Catiliar is not who she seems. She is actually a dragon named Anandarix in disguise. Serving the Archdragon Daralathixil, Anandarix has adopted this false identity to erode public trust in Borogrim, and sow instability throughout the nation. The Shield Forge. Once nicknamed Torag's Wart, this noisy and unsightly complex helped produce the massive defenses for the Torag's Shield project. Tensions were high over the last 5 years between the project's lead smith and architect after a number of structural failures. These figures were Senior Forge Master Mephi Brightshield and Chief Engineer Normatter Plan. However, despite their differences, the shield was completed. In fact, it was completed just months ago at the time of publication of this video, and its large work area, the Shield Forge, has now been converted over to the work of building specialized armor for a new faction of dwarven warriors called the Shield-Wrought Striders. The Shield-Wrought Striders are the invention of clan leader Grytum Grimark, who envisioned a fusion of dwarven diplomacy, martial prowess, and mechanical ingenuity. These elite warriors don massive stone-forged exosuits constructed from salvaged materials taken directly from the sacred wreckage of Torag's shield. Towering over other dwarves, the Striders don't so much wear their armor as pilot it. Each suit is entered through a hatch in the back, with the pilot seated amidst a complex array of levers and control rods. Since their debut, the Shield-Wrought Striders have earned fearsome reputations as dragon slayers. The spawn of the Archdragon Darelathixil have become a recurring threat in the Five Kings Mountains and beyond, and time and again it is only the Striders who can face them directly, withstanding their fiery breath and forcing them into retreat. Yet this fame has brought with it a grim shadow. Every encounter between the Striders and Darelathixil himself has ended in slaughter. No pilot has survived, and even the enchanted bulwarks crumble under the Archdragon's searing breath. Some now whispered that even Torag's shield could not endure such heat. Rovent Vanderhol, the current leader of the Shield-Wrought Striders, a bold, glory-hungry idealist, is determined to slay Darelathixil himself before the world discovers whether those whispers are true. The Gracchadan Gallery, Highhelm's most prestigious restaurant, known for its antique decor and eccentric chef Ellie Mulgas, who experiments with bizarre ingredients and techniques. Patrons enjoy the novelty, and the galley fuels a local market for rare alchemical and culinary goods. Breakiron Crown Hall. The Breakiron clan operates a secure multi-zone clan hall focused on alchemical research and innovation. Labs are built to contain explosions and experiments. Projects include stone and metalwork for Torag's shield. One lab has been shut down recently due to hazardous mold infestations. Clan leader Gondan Breakiron cuts an unassuming figure, frequently mistaken for a blacksmith or coal miner, thanks to their plain, soot-stained clothes and the burns that mark their hands. Despite their humble appearance, Gondan is a passionate and outspoken critic of Highhelm's rigid caste system. Through their work, they've witnessed brilliant alchemical minds emerge from all walks of life, not just the elite. The Talora Sparring Lawn, a former prospector estate turned into a dueling grounds with real grass, funded by Highhelm aristocrat Lady Krigo Talor. Maintained by the Blade Tender's Druidic Circle, particularly the Chief Gardener Forgald, it's a hub for duels, bets, and social events among the warriors and nobles. On most days the lawn is alive with the clash of steel and the thud of practice weapons, as warriors hone their skills in open sparring, all while a scattering of bored nobles and clan heirs lounge beneath awnings or perch on stone benches, placing bets and hiring fighters to serve as their champions in duels, jousts, and other deadly games of prestige and pride. The Duck's House. Home of Baroness Nicasia Dux, an influential human noblewoman from Taldor. The house often serves as a political and social hub for Highhelm's elite, known for lavish gatherings and a mix of powerful and controversial guests, including often the High King himself. One persistent rumor is that Baroness Dux is a lion blade and a spy for Grand Princess Eutropia. The truth, however, is much more terrifying than this. The Baroness is a Miracarx, a kind of extraplanar information broker from the Netherworld, with ties to the Velstrax and other dark entities of the Shadow World. What her exact interests are in the Dwarven realms are unknown. The Cloudspire Embassy. Representing the Mbeke Dwarves of Cloudspire, built in their architectural style, overseen by Ambassador Jakarasen Softtongue, it manages trade and relations while offering cultural events. It is also home to Marcy Lakinas, a curious young cloud dragon sent along with the ambassador for security. The Fish Market, a location key to Highhelm's aquaculture system, vital for siege self-sufficiency. It offers a vibrant marketplace of farmed and rare wild fish, with cascading pools and mountain ice displays. Roth Chulebreaker, a scar dwarf, is the go-to guide for the hidden waterways. Those scars aren't just from local scraps either. The rumor in town is that Roth spent many years as an Ulat Kini prisoner, before finally making a daring escape from one of their subterranean dungeons. The Modolf Exporters. On the surface, a successful dwarven export business run by Orleg Modolf, dealing in quality metalwork. Behind the scenes, his sister Ota Modolf, however, is a member of the Ash cult of Forge One, and uses the trade network for her darker agendas, profiting handsomely on the dwarven black market. Weaver's Well. Once a humble well where a Kelishite merchant sold silks, Weaver's Well has grown into Highhelm's premier luxury market. The original well has been replaced by a grand fountain surrounded by statues, including one of Cole's, the Oathkeeper. It is now filled with shops selling fine textiles, rare books, spices, and magical trinkets. This legacy of high-end trade is maintained through current merchants like Cobal al-Witrin, descendant of the market's founder. Arengeld Hall. Arengeld Hall is the lavish seat of Clan Arengeld, once part of the merchant-focused Steel Hilts and now aspiring to full Gold Hilt prestige. Its grand renovations have uncovered ancient passages, including one sealed 40 years ago that contained the chained skeleton of 2 dwarves, likely buried alive. Clan leader Henth Arengeld has kept the discovery a secret to avoid scandal, but the bodies have now mysteriously vanished, and guards report eerie happenings. Clan leader Henth is an older woman, but a famously shrewd negotiator and a dangerous person to underestimate. She always dresses in exquisitely tailored clothing sewn from only the finest and rarest of fabrics. The King's Heart. King's Heart is the middle layer of Highhelm, and it was the first part of the city to be constructed, built around a vast, naturally occurring hollow and crystal-filled cavern discovered during the city's construction. Believed to be a divine gift from Torag, the cavern became home to Highhelm's largest temple and its first dwellings. As the city grew, King's Heart developed into its spiritual and industrial core. Because of its central location, commerce, mining, and metallurgy thrive here. Heat and water, scarce within the mountains, were provided by the Circle of Four, druids who operate portals to the elemental planes in exchange for sanctuary. Their contributions made King's Heart not only a hub of labor and industry, but also a safe haven for other denizens with connections to the deep earth. Culturally, King's Heart is defined by hard work, religious devotion, and a strong sense of community. It is home to both the Forge of the Nine, Highhelm's main temple, and the city's most vital industries. However, beneath the surface, fierce competition for business leads to cutthroat tactics like contract sabotage and worker poaching. Religious tensions also simmer, especially with the Rivthuns, spiritualists who oppose planar magic and claim to follow a pre-Torag dwarven faith. Despite these tensions, King's Heart appears peaceful and prosperous, its people fiercely proud of their role in sustaining the city. The Endless Reservoir, Highhelm's primary water source, magically fed from the elemental plane of water. Overseen by the Undine druid Anzi Whitewater, it's both a waterworks hub and fishing area for extraplanar sea life. Its magical waterways are also home to other individuals touched by the elemental plane of water, as well as water elementals, water scamps, and its other most notable resident, the noble Faidan, or water genie Anzara. The Copper Anvil. The city's oldest tavern, beloved and respected, run by ancient and sharp-witted Sanra Copperstone and her granddaughter Maril. Known for its calm atmosphere and excellent food, Sanra is rumored to be the oldest dwarf in all of Highhelm. Though she holds no official position, she's seen as the matriarch of King's Heart, offering stories, wisdom, and guidance to generations. Elders remember her as elderly when they were children, and her influence runs deep through quiet respect, not direct authority. Mulgrade Hall. The historic clan hall of Clan Mulgrade, built by early Gold Hilt settlers. Now a residence and informal political base for clan leader Onisha Mulgrade, who is quietly gathering opposition against her cousin Finadad, who is a powerful union leader. Union boss Finadad is sat at the head of the Metalmakers Union because of decades of deal-making, clever hiring, and efficient investments. Meanwhile, clan leader Onisha hails from a lineage of highly respected weaponsmiths and armorers, and she is no exception herself, being a world-renowned expert on working rare metals, and famously having a personality as blunt and measured as the swings of her hammer. Lucky Larry's Bar and Gambling Hall. An adventurer's hotspot run by goblin Larry Rocknasher and his gnome husband Gizmit, a flamboyant priest of Nivi Rombodazzle. The place hosts the most eclectic collection of people you can find in the city, a revolving door of all types of ancestries, drinking, swapping stories, and gambling. The Lunar Grotto. A hidden moonlit grotto cared for by Willora Ironclaw, a dwarven werewolf, and her circle of lycanthropic druids. Here, moonlight is allowed to filter in through a number of carefully adjusted gem mirrors, aiding the lycanthropes in mastering their curse. It is a place that is sacred, serene, and fiercely protected. Orrote Tower. This is the military command center of King's Heart, the operational heart of the Heart's Watch Division. It is led by the tireless commander Lorish Stonefist. His cousin, Lieutenant Annalise Amberheart, a seasoned paladin of Trude, also works here, handling public relations and hiring any additional mercenaries that might be needed. This is a great place to get work as a sellsword in the city. The Silver Stalls, an open-air marketplace full of ever-changing vendors offering discounted goods from cookware to weapons. The stalls are largely operated and overseen by businesswoman Lindy Mischivelk, a strict but savvy landlord who tolerates cutthroat business practices and imposes high-interest credit schemes on her customers. The Long Hall, Crystal Borough's government hub and neutral ground for clan negotiations, staffed by proud bureaucrats and led by skilled arbiter Oliban Proslin. It plays a key role in managing growing political tensions, particularly over the Reeve Thune and the Metalmakers Union. The Forge of the Nine, Highhelm's largest temple, divided into 9 wings for each major dwarven deity. As such, this important location is the workplace of several influential figures in the city. 3 of these include High Priestess Vanth Oridus, the most prominent cleric of Torag in Highhelm, the chief god of the dwarven pantheon, High Priest Arador Oridus, who is devoted to Torag's wife Folgrit, and High Priestess Asleaf, the ghostly white-veiled High Priestess of Drangvit in Highhelm, serving as a moral reminder that actions have consequences and debts must be paid. Though she presents a solemn and mysterious image, Alsif can be cynical and blunt too, and has little patience for nonsense. The Smouldering Court. This temple serves as the sacred place to the Reeve Thune, and there is no end of tension with the clerics of the Forge of the Nine. The court is open to anyone, regardless of their need, and the monastery's leader, High Shaman Nenakari Ugor, always seems to inherently know a visitor's plight with a single look. Tensions between the Reeve Thune and the Forge of the Nine have reached an all-time high recently, as High Priestess Ardis's own son, Ezra Burnstone, recently defected from the church and joined the Reeve Thune cult. Aridus, still furious, has become more dedicated than ever in trying to prevent the spread of their unorthodox religion. Stonefist Hall, a fortress-like clan hall built as an emergency shelter and military base. While anyone is welcome into the top level, where clan leader Ustur Stonefist makes himself available, the lower levels are strictly off-limits to anyone not of Clan Stonefist. These underground sections house elite training facilities, living quarters, as well as a number of secret tunnels leading to places known only to the Stonefist clan. Clan leader Ustur suffers from a curious ailment, recurring nightmares that cause him to often walk the city at odd hours of the night to clear his mind. The Irongrade Steelworks, the headquarters of the Metalmakers Union, offering workspaces and administration for Highhelm's metalworking industries. It hosts a controversial research division led by Lyle Breakiron, controversial due to the amount of funds and resources being redirected here, as well as the secrecy with which they conduct their operations. Union boss Mulgrade has remained tight-lipped about what Chief Metallurgist Lyle is working on down here. The Phyrexian Botanical Gardens, a subterranean wonder filled with unique enchantment-sustained flora that thrives without sunlight. Created by gnome gardener Willard Phyrexian, the gardens are a serene public space beloved by druids, shamans, and city residents alike. Ridoran Lending and Investments, a banking front for secret smuggling networks led by Argus Ridoran, a Hringar Grey Dwarf disguised as a Grundaxan Dwarf. While his financial dealings appear shady, Argus's work is not as sinister as it first seems. He has, for some time now, been covertly helping Darkland's refugees escape oppression and integrate into the dwarven city-states. The Iron Lagoon. A furnace-like district at the heart of Ironwell, the Iron Lagoon houses most of Highhelm's forges, all powered by a rift to the elemental plane of fire. Heat is distributed city-wide for a fee, and the area is managed by Flame Master Masri Darn, a salamander foreman. The rift also serves as a rare portal for fire elementals and traders to pass between realms, though traffic is infrequent due to the extreme conditions here. The High King's Forge, a tiny, unassuming forge hidden in the Iron Lagoon, run by the masterful forge master Hokrani Witchrivet and their apprentice Finch. Known for producing legendary gear, the forge boasts a decades-long waitlist. Despite its modest size, it's become one of Highhelm's most prestigious crafting spots. Burntown. A residential enclave surrounded by the Iron Lagoon, Burntown is home to Highhelm's fire-aligned residents, Munsahir, Nari dwarves, salamanders, ifrits, and others. Also home to a fire-worshipping Iruxi sect, the district is close-knit and often seen as insular. Its isolation is quietly encouraged by Magistrate Benar Goldhammer, who prefers to keep the plane of fire's influence contained. Stonebreach. Stonebreach is the lowermost district of Highhelm, named for the only road entrance into the city. It's a vibrant but divided place, where hard-working dwarves live alongside wealthy non-dwarven merchants. Breachers, as the local residents call themselves, take pride in their open-mindedness, passion, and community spirit. The district's energy centers around the Roundabout, a never-closed market. except during its daily black noon pause, primarily run by non-dwarves who enjoy relatively luxurious lives compared to the average breacher. This economic gap causes some occasional tension, especially when city policies widen the divide. While relations do remain largely cooperative, unrest sometimes erupt into organized actions by breachers in demand of change. Crime, ambition, and desperation intermingle in places like Spilldown, and some breachers resort to thievery or dangerous expeditions into the nearby Dying Range for extra income. Still, Stonebreach largely polices itself, with groups like the Fightbreakers, a civilian organization who help maintain the peace and can be identified by their distinctive tattoos. However, this independence from the rest of Highhelm's more onerous oversight may come at a cost, as Stonebreach lies close to the entrance to the dangerous Darklands. With new threats rising from below, the ignored warnings from concerned breachers may one day endanger all of Highhelm. The Drop, a vast aquifer and performance grotto known for both its water supply and its incredible acoustics. It hosts artistic expressions by local creatives, but a recent twist-gut illness outbreak has temporarily closed the venue. Artists Jargon Tapatil and Vala Silan, once at odds, now collaborate to uncover the saboteur who may have tainted the water. Iriset's Inkwell, a hybrid tattoo parlor and printing press run by Iriset, a passionate catfolk artist. She tattoos with traditional ink and experiments with magical design. While her press publishes a community pamphlet, her recent editorials have drawn ire, leading to rumors and threats against her shop. Common Goods, an overlooked but beloved invention workshop led by Danila Ken, focused on practical gadgets for daily life. She and her partner Depa develop small-scale innovations like cleaning agents and grub gloves. A surge in demand for their latest product now threatens their limited supply chain. Clips, Stonebreach's go-to barber shop where gossip flows as freely as hair clippings. Lakin Jabril, the charismatic barber, and secret betting pool operator dreams of seeing their sibling Scythe dethroned as Breacher Brawl champion to protect Clip's finances, possibly by dubious means. Bloodknuckle Crib, an underground fight club posing as a training school watched over by stoic orc coach Oxcon Titankiller. It produces elite brawlers but lacks discipline. Oxcon is hunting the origin of the illegal Blood Knuckles weapons, possibly crafted by one of his own former students. Surface Row. The topmost homes in the Warrens have become artist workshops, buzzing with nighttime creativity, but plagued by disputes over space. A kobold named Teely secretly began organizing room assignments to keep the peace, and was eventually embraced by the community. She continues to work discreetly, fearing that discovery of her hidden family might lead to her own eviction. Last Hall. Once an inn, now an open-access clan hall and trade school for the clanless or displaced dwarves. Last Hall is led by reformist Odessa Last Hall. She's pushing against traditional dwarven structures by expanding training and opportunities. Unbeknownst to others, she's also the anonymous author of critiques of Highhelm's hierarchies, critiques now linked to vandalism she's trying to disprove she's behind. Vanderhall. Home of the Vanderhall clan, Vanderhall is a joyous multi-building compound where laborers unwind. It hosts social halls and guarded archives maintained by Bennick Vanderhall, who uses decoy documents to thwart thieves. Though protective of the archive secrets, Bennick has made powerful enemies, and may even be a possible target for assassination. Starlight Inn. Popular with sky-homesick non-dwarves, the Starlight Inn simulates an outdoor night environment using rare fungi and scent-based illusions. However, its owner, Thera Heartslip, secretly uses these scents to sedate her guests, and occasionally steal their valuables, sometimes replacing them with forgeries. The Clamber. A bustling public square and symbolic entrance to Highhelm, Clamber is both a hub for travel and a festival site. It's maintained by a prestigious rotating crew from Clan Vanderhall, led by Declan Vanderhall. Rumors swirl that Declan's past, possibly tied to Thera Heartslip and the infamous Black Noon heists, could be used to manipulate him ahead of the next crew selection. The Roundabout Market. A bustling, ever-changing market near Highhelm's entrance, catering to travelers. Shops are reassigned monthly, making navigation tricky and encouraging alliances between vendors. Two rival merchant coalitions led by Cabe Worldwalker and his daughter Cabria vie for influence. A neutral market guide, Stagrin Harthel, offers insider info, which he sells to archivists and criminals alike. Iron Tongue. A popular spicy dwarven eatery known for its chaotic seating and notorious multi-course swallow special. Proprietor Krem Sirkanen sometimes sabotages the meals with foul dishes when ingredients run low. Fights are common, but punished with lifetime bans. According to one recent rumor, though, Krem has begun secretly lifting these bans. Tugari Poressa. This innocuous foreign trading house is a covert Aspis Consortium hub. Invitation to its secret auctions are coveted. The real power behind the scenes is ruthless dwarf Pella Daggerwell, who masks her authority with the frontman auctioneer. Glamorous goods. Ixigia Glamourtooth's cheerful magic shop hides a financial disaster. Despite her social connections and loans from the Mercantile Collective, her profits have recently vanished, literally due to a cursed portal under her shop. Only someone attuned to the plane of Earth can uncover it. Mercantile Collective leader Sarah suspects that something is wrong, but doesn't know the details. The Mercantile Collective. A powerful Mercantile Collective run by Sarah Brislin, offering loans and market influence. Most members who default on loans are helped, but occasionally some are subtly sabotaged. Social events here are key to gaining favor, but Sarah's tastes are mysterious, and merchants compete to decipher what wins her attention. Insights into her preferences are highly sought after. Geldarin Green. Home to Highhelm's agricultural innovators, this clan hall contains a working experimental farm and a public garden open to all. Most of the food produced is stored in cold storage as a backup against emergencies, overseen by Barget Geldarin, a meticulous accountant. Recently, a large amount of stored food has gone missing, raising concerns about theft or sabotage. The Cracked Anvil Brewery. A peaceful, politics-free tavern run by Skog Bloodhammer, a gruff ex-soldier. The brewery is famous for its deep brown ales and a secretive brew called Bloodhammer Reserve, rumored to cause strange temporary physical effects. Skog enforces strict no business and no politics rule, with battlefield-level intensity, creating a lively, if sometimes tense, atmosphere. Tremoric Farm, the main source of Highhelm spicy smoke bulbs, grown in soil cracks that irritate the senses if overexposed. Manager Gildy Tremoric permits the Fightbreakers to use the farm for rehabilitative overnight stays, but suspects one of them is misusing this for interrogations related to a recent market attack. She's worried the farm may become a target if things escalate. The Depths. The Depths are a sprawling, ever-shifting network of tunnels and caverns beneath and between Highhelm's layers, far removed from the order and laws of the city above. While some areas are safe for visitors, much of the region operates outside official control, governed by a mix of criminal factions, rogue industrialists, and countercultural movements. Despite the chaos, many legitimate businesses, like mining and farming, thrive here, often turning a blind eye to nearby illegal activity so long as their profits remain unaffected. Locals and surface dwellers work side by side, though many adopt a live-and-let-live mindset to avoid friction. The residents of the Depths are fiercely independent and protective of their community. Though crime exists, there's an unspoken rule. Violence should not spill over to those uninvolved. Anyone who threatens their way of life, whether outsider or insider, quickly finds the entire community united against them. The Messenger Tunnels. A secretive tunnel network in Highhelm allows for fast communication across the city. Though mainly used by messengers, others, including smugglers, often use them as well. A local miner named Algrith Roughstone has been seeking help to find his missing children, who ventured into the tunnels recently. The Gauntlet. Here, aspiring members of the Black Noon Thieves Guild must navigate a dangerous maze full of traps and Zulgath warriors. As the head enforcer of the Black Noon Thieves Guild, Gerald Brightfist is well known to gang members and residents of the Depths alike. A Black Noon aspirant who recently failed to pass the gauntlet named Gudrun Greatstorm is said to need help retrieving her lost clan dagger from the maze. High Noon. The Black Noon Thieves Guild also operate a tavern called High Noon, which is a front for its activities. They are dealing with rumors spread by rival gang Sigun's Swift Hands and are seeking someone to sabotage Sigun's new smuggling operation. Fulgrit's Kitchen. An ancient kitchen in Highhelm where Unique Yeast once thrived. Ludwind Darkrock, a local historian and professor, wants to recreate the famed ancient bread once made here, but needs someone to retrieve the rare yeast that has moved the walls behind a long-abandoned fissure. Diomira's Drop, a waterfall known for the romantic legend of Diomira, who climbed it to win her love. Though dangerous to climb, tourists still attempt it, and Zrizek, a local kebab vendor, often needs help rescuing them. Callingstaff Circle. A performance hall with perfect acoustics, it also boasts magical lighting effects. The Circle's mages need help clearing dangerous salt caverns to gather the rare ingredients needed for their spells. The Smelted Bank Steam Room and Spa, a luxurious spa that attracts the wealthy with treatments using local thermal waters and snails. The owner, Talman Saltimond, suspects sabotage from a competitor and seeks help investigating the source of the problem. The Seep Walls, a water source for algae farming now expanding into fungus production. The Obergurthen family pioneered vertical farming here, using the cavern walls to grow food. Ortrod Obergurthen currently manages the largest algae and fungus farms in the Sleep Walls. They are one of the few industry leaders to live in the depths, earning respect from local residents. Ortrod has further solidified their reputation by setting aside part of their harvest for those in need, and is known throughout the depths as a reliable source of help, always able to connect the people with the assistance they require. The Fight Pits. Run by the Black Noon Thieves Guild, the pit hosts various combat tournaments. Mercenaries, including favorites from the Raging Forge group, compete for large bets placed by spectators. The guild uses the fights to recruit and fund their activities. The Night Market. A criminal market where illicit goods are bought and sold. Details on the operations are unclear, but likely connected to the Black Noon Thieves Guild. The Mouth of Horror. A gate in Highhelm that separates the surface from the dangerous darklands below. The gate was set up long ago to keep out dangerous creatures, and Emperor's Watch guards keep watch over it. The leader, Sis Nizix, has kept the area safe for almost a decade by training his guards well, many of whom are defectors from the Darklands. However, the politicians in Highhelm don't take the growing threat seriously, and refuse to provide more resources. Sis is now looking for mercenaries to help defend against potential attacks. The Dwarf Clans. In the dwarven lands of central Avistan, a dwarf's clan is singularly important, often determining their home, likely careers, and social status. Clans typically consist of 50 to 500 families, and each family can trace its roots back to the clan's founder. Dwarves often follow the traditions and trade associated with their clans, and it's uncommon for them to stray from this path. Dwarves may be adopted into higher status clans as a reward for extraordinary achievements or through marriage, with dowry often reflecting the difference in clan status. A key symbol of clan membership is the clan dagger, which is unique to each dwarf, and crafted with a gemstone tied to the clan's tradition. Upon birth, a new dagger is forged, but its gemstone is set only after the child is born, marking the beginning of their clan affiliation. The clan dagger also plays a role in various rituals, including the welcoming, where a newborn's dagger is blessed, and the farewell, when a dwarf leaves the clan. If a dwarf is expelled, their dagger is confiscated in a ceremony of banishment. When a dwarf dies, a memorial ceremony is held for their dagger, which symbolizes their spirit's connection to the clan. The recovery of lost clan daggers is always seen as a high priority, as it's believed a spirit without its dagger cannot enter the afterlife's clan hall. The clans of Highhelm are stratified into 3 castes: Gold Hilt, Steel Hilt, and Iron Hilt. These loosely correspond to their clan hall's location in the mountain, as well as their wealth and social standing. Gold-Hilt clans consider themselves the guardians of dwarven history and culture. Steel-Hilt clans constitute the respectable backbone of Highhelm society, while Iron-Hilt clans handle most of the work that is deemed unclean. Animal husbandry, tanning, digging, and farming is all common work among the Iron-Hilt clans. Highhelm's top 5 most significant Gold-Hilt clans are Clan Firecask, a small but prosperous brewing clan of 620 dwarves known for their exceptional beer and whiskey. Based in a pub-like hall in King's Crown, they distribute their brews across Highhelm. Their clan gems, matching their favorite drinks, are used to test brew quality. Firecask dwarves are laid back and passionate about their craft, with little political ambition. However, they face challenges like ingredient shortages, grain-eating centipedes, and recipe theft. Clan leader Peril Firecask seeks trustworthy agents to protect their operations. The clan is notably friendly and open to outsiders. Clan Mulgrade, a prestigious smithing clan of about 1,650 dwarves, known for their elaborate metalwork, proud traditions, and symbolic personal adornments. Their members wear metal plates in their hair, each representing mastery of a metal, and display tattooed runes showcasing their forged specialties. They are also famed for the Book of the Locks, a vault of intricate locks and trap designs. Currently focused on building Torag's shield, they're stretched thin, and reluctantly hiring outsiders for minor maintenance. Clan leader Onisha Mulgrade is a shrewd, respected elder whose backing holds significant political weight in Highhelm. Clan Oridus, a small, devout clan of 610 dwarves known for their religious dedication and role as guardians of dwarven spiritual traditions. They wear prayer scrolls and religious symbols, and elders don ancient masks during ceremonies to emphasize continuity over individuality. Focused on preserving sacred knowledge rather than influencing politics, they assist Highhelm through quiet service, offering care in their temple hospital and guidance in times of need. Their clan hall features horn-like air shafts used to announce holy events with sound or incense. Clan leader Geselm Aridus remains politically aloof, except around kingdom-wide causes like Torag's shield. Clan Runebinder, A clan dedicated to the mastery of applied magic, Clan Runebinder specializes in abjuration, elementalism, transmutation, and clerical magic. Their clan hall features intricate stonework and magical windows that serve protective or divinatory purposes. Members are known for their distinctive magical attire and throat-sung spells, often aided by amplifying horns. The clan is famed for its extensive magical libraries and its work fortifying Highhelm's defenses with powerful wards. Clan leader Trigeld Runebinder, a seemingly eccentric leader, fosters alliances with other clans like Grimark, Mulgrade, and Auridus, and maintains political leverage by cautiously supporting Clan Erengeld's bid for Goldhilt status. Clan Tolor. Clan Tolor prides itself on being the keeper of Highhelm's history, with a rich tradition of preserving ancient manuscripts, oral sagas, and artifacts. Their clan hall in King's Heart houses extensive archives, and members study ancient scripts and techniques for restoration. They actively engage the public by hosting lavish displays, festivals, and reenactments of significant historical events. Clan leader Argan Tolor is considering an expedition to recover the Stone of the Fifth King, a legendary artifact mentioned in a popular book by scholar Virhur Grufstein, whose work have made her a cultural icon, but also a target of threats. The discovery of the stone would have major political consequences for the clan. Highhelm's most significant steel-hilt clans are Clan Arengeld, an ambitious and wealthy merchant clan of 2,400 dwarves, known for their foreign trade, diplomacy, and espionage. They aim to elevate their status to Goldhilt through strategic influence and acquiring valuable cultural treasures. Members earn prestige by weaving foreign coins into their hair or beards. Clan leader Henth Arengeld seeks discreet agents to recover sacred Toragian relics from orc lands near Urgir, without drawing attention from the orcs or even from rival dwarven groups in the region. Clan Breakiron, a small but influential clan of about 980 dwarves, renowned for scientific and arcane innovation. Focused on practical inventions in metallurgy, engineering, and public health, they developed key technologies like oxygen-generating breather walls. Their workshops welcome outside input, but all discoveries are credited to the clan. Members are under high pressure to constantly innovate. Clan leader Gondon values this drive, though it causes personal strain, especially for Torgad Breakiron, whose enhanced breather wall lichen may be causing dangerous hallucination in the deep tunnels. Clan Ertebur. Clan Ertebur is a small clan who specializes in mortuary services, offering a range of services from performing autopsies to providing ceremonial garments and paraphernalia for funerals. This clan plays a vital role in maintaining the dignity and reverence for dwarven ancestors and the deceased. Their clan hall includes a memorial space dedicated to dwarves whose faith are not represented in Highhelm, as well as those who prefer secular funeral services. Clan Ertebur ensure that no matter the faith or tradition, every dwarf is properly honored and remembered in their passing. Clan Grimark, a small secretive clan of 710 dwarves known for engineering Highhelm's defenses and weapons. Originally stonemasons, they now specialize in fortifications and military innovations, often walking a fine moral line with their powerful, sometimes terrifying creations. Clan leader Greitem Grimark is a genial but eccentric architect behind major projects, and he works closely with the Torag's shield group. Internal disagreements divide the clan over the ethics of warfare, focus on defense versus offense, and preserving traditional craftsmanship. Some members, like Urgain Grimark, push the boundaries of acceptable weaponry, and may seek buyers beyond dwarven society. Clan Ironfist, an old respected smelting clan of 1,240 dwarves, known for their hard-working, no-nonsense attitude and loyalty. Based in King's Crown, their members are recognized by their fire-slick appearance from protective oils used in their fiery trade. Led by the proud and tireless clan leader Hanahar Ironfist, they are key players in building Torag's shield, and may soon pursue Goldhilt status as well, possibly to pressure rival clan Arengeld. However, the clan bears a family stain. Hanahar's exiled son Thorgrim, now a rumored villain abroad. One recent mysterious rumor suggests that a piece of Numerian scrap has started to cause strange phenomena in their hall. Clan Pearlcask. Clan Pearlcask is renowned for its mastery in water purification and mollusk aquaculture. They run a complex filtration system that ensures the water in Highhelm remains clean and drinkable. In addition to purifying water, Clan Pearlcask farms a variety of freshwater mollusks, including oysters, which provide food, shells for ornamentation, and beautiful pearls. Clan members are skilled in every trade related to this aquaculture, from waterway engineering to gem cutting. Their work is crucial both to the economy and culture of Highhelm, as their pearls and shells are highly valued for decorative purposes. Clan Stonefist, a powerful and large clan primarily known for its strong presence in Highhelm's military. and they serve both in the royal military as well as mercenaries. Their distinctive armour is tough and battle-worn, with scars left as marks of honour. Dwarves in this clan undergo rigorous training from a young age, with specialised facilities for combat preparation, including magical and physical challenges. Clan Stonefist has close ties with Clan Grimmark, Mulgrade, and Runebinder, and is known for seeking new challenges to test their combat skills. Clan leader Ustur Stonefist is open to extending honorary membership to non-dwarves who prove their valour, although tensions persist over the inclusion of half-orcs into the clan. Finally, let's look at a few significant Ironhilt clans as well. Clan Geldarin, a large and vital agricultural clan of 3,100 dwarves that supplies most of Highhelm's food from above and below ground. Despite being a low clan, so to speak, their influence is quite significant due to their essential role. Known for practical attire and blue-tarnished bronze buttons denoting experience, they are deeply connected to the natural world, and often detect early signs of danger. Clan leader Theala Geldarin advocates for fair treatment of her people. One member, Belgor, is troubled after discovering mysteriously burned non-dwarven corpses dumped in a grindlegrub pit, and is torn over whether to report it. Clan Feltree. Clan Feltree is unique among Highhelm's clans due to its above-ground clan hall, located in the Five Kings Mountains. The clan is deeply involved in the cultivation and care of timber farms, having tended these stands for centuries. They take great pride in nurturing the health of the soil, ensuring the longevity of their trees. An heirloom tree is planted with each new clan leader to commemorate their reign, and Clan Feltree prides itself on the robust health of its clan trees, which have endured for generations. This deep connection to nature and the land is at the heart of their identity. Clan Lasthall. Clan Lasthall serves as a refuge for dwarves who have lost their ancestral connections, including refugees, dwarves who grew up far from their homeland, and those who for whatever reason have forsworn their association with their original clan. Originally founded by dwarves who fled Droskar's kingdom, Clan Lasthall has become a home for outcasts, exiles, and those seeking a new start. This clan's inclusive nature makes it a sanctuary for those without a clan to call their own, offering them a sense of belonging and purpose. Clan Lasthall is a melting pot of diverse backgrounds, united under the banner of acceptance and resilience. Clan Vanderhol. Clan Vanderhol is the backbone of Highhelm, handling the essential, often overlooked tasks that keep the kingdom running. From hauling rubbish to feeding animals and cleaning hides, Vanderhol dwarves are integral to everyday life in Highhelm. Their work is practical and necessary, and though they don't have a specialized identity, their contributions are vital. They have a strong sense of community and ownership of the city, and their members are known for their hard work and dedication. When off duty, they enjoy celebrating with loud, flashy attire. Clan leader Jarus Vanderhall, a cheerful and charismatic former laborer, advocates for worker protection and enjoys sharing gossip.